Hey guys, it's Crazy pt2 here, and welcome to part 2 of my read-through of BioShock Rapture. Let's begin. Not until today, he peered again at the photos of the devastation, turning them to catch the light better. Not until this. We can escape, you and I, and certain others. We can escape from the mutual destruction of the mad little men who scuttle about the halls of government power. We are going to build a new world, in the one place these madmen cannot touch. Yes, sir. Sullivan decided not to ask for an explanation. Better to just hope that whatever overblown scheme the great man was caught up in, he'd drop it. In the end, when he faced the full coast, anything more, sir? I mean, tonight. If I'm going to break up those strikes, I'd better leave early in the morning. Yes. Go and get some rest. But there'll be no rest for me tonight. I must plan. So saying, Andrew Ryan turned away from the window across the room and tossed the photos aside. I was right. The great man is Andrew Ryan. The destruction of Hiroshima and Nagasaki skidded across the glass-top desk. Left alone in the shadowy office, Ryan slumped in the padded leather desk chair and reached for the telephone. It was time to call Simon Wales, give him the go-ahead for the next stage. But his hand hovered over the phone and then withdrew, trembling. He needed to calm himself before calling Wales. Something he'd said to Sullivan had sparked a painful, harshly vivid memory. I came here from Russia as a boy in 1918. The Bolsheviks had just taken the place over. We barely got out alive. Andrew Ryan wasn't his name. Not then. Since coming to the USA, he'd Americanized his name. His real name was Andrei Ryanovsky? Andrei and his father were standing at the windswept train station, shivering in the cold. It is early morning, and both of them are staring down the tracks. His father, heavily bearded, his lined face grim, is holding their single bag in his left hand. His large right hand is resting on the young Andrei's shoulder. The dawn sky, the colors of a deep bruise, is closed by the clouds. The cutting wind is serrated by sleet. A few other travelers huddled in long dark coasts stand in a group farther down the platform. They seem worried, although a woman with a round red face, her head in a fur wrap, is smiling, talking softly to cheer them up. Beside the door to the station, an old man in a tattered coat and fur hat tends a steaming samovar fly. Andrei wishes that they could afford some of the old man's hot tea. Andrei listens to the wind hiss along the concrete platform and wonders why his father stands so far from the others. But he guesses the reason. Some from their village on the outskirts of Minsk know that the father was against the communists, and he spoke up against the Reds. Now, many who'd once been their friends were beginning to denounce all such betrayers of the people's revolution. His father had word from the priest that night before that the purge was to begin today. They were first in line when the station opened. Father and Andrei purchasing a ticket to Constantinople. Father carries traveling papers, permissions to purchase Turkish rugs and other goods for import. The papers might be good enough to get them out of Russia. Father fiddles with the money in his pocket he brought to bribe the customs officials. They will probably need it all. His father's breath steams in the air. The train steams as it approaches a big dark shape hulking toward them through the grayness of a single lantern above the co-watcher, projecting a rain-scratched cone into the mist. Andre glances toward the other travelers and sees another man approaching. "Father," Andre whispers in Russian, turning to look at a tall, lean man in a long green coat with red epaulets, a black hat, a rifle slung over his shoulder. "Is that man one of the Red Guard?" Andre, his father, grips his shoulder, briskly turns him so that he looks away from the soldier. "Don't look at him." "What?" "I cannot read Russian. I'm sorry. Poita Ryanovsky. I guess that's his father's name." They turn to see his father's cousin Dmitri standing with his arm around his wife, Vasilisa, a stocky, pale, blonde woman in a yellow scarf, her nose red with the cold. She rubs wetness from her nose and looks at Andrei's father imploringly. "Please, Poito," she whispers to Andrei's father, "we have no more money. If you pay the soldiers." Dmitri licks his lips. "They are looking for us, Poito, because I spoke at the meeting yesterday. We have train tickets, but nothing more. Not a ruble left. Perhaps a bribe will make them let us go. Dmitri, Vasilisa, I cannot get the hang of that name. If I could help, I would. But we will need every kopeck. I think I have to think of this boy. We have to pay our way to our destination. A long journey." The train chugs into the station, looming up rather suddenly, reeking of coal smoke, making Andre jump a little as the engine furiously sprays steam. "Please," Vasilisa says, wringing her hands. The militiaman is looking toward them, and another Red Guardsman, and then a third step onto the platform from the station door, all of them carrying rifles. The train is grinding slowly past. It slows, but to Andre it seems that it will never completely stop. The militiaman is calling out to cousin Dmitri, his voice a bark. "You! We wish to speak with you." He takes his rifle off his shoulder. "Dmitri," father hisses, "keep your peace. Do not make a sound." The train is still shuddering as it finally stops, and Andre feels his father's hand clamping the back of his neck, feels himself propelled up the metal stairs onto the train. He almost falls on his face. His father clambers on after him. They bang through a door into a smoky car, the windows greasy and steam-coated. They find a seat on the wooden benches, and as father hands the scowling conductor their tickets, Andre wipes the window enough to see Dmitri and Vasilisa talking to the militiaman. I really hope he doesn't shoot these two. Vasilisa is weeping, waving her arms. Dmitri is standing stiffly, shaking his head, pushing his wife behind him. The discussion goes on as the armed men frown at the travel papers. "Andre," father mutters, "don't look." But Andre cannot look away. The tall militiaman tucks Dimitri's papers away somewhere and then gestures with his rifle. Dmitri shakes his head, waving his train tickets. The train shudders and a whistle blasts. Vasilisa tries to pull him toward the train. The soldiers wave their guns. Andre remembers Dmitri coming to the feast for his 10th birthday, smiling, bringing with him a wooden saber carved as a gift. I guess it's like a lightsaber from like Star Wars. I don't know if that existed back then. Probably. I don't think it did. But anyways, the train whistles, screams, the guards shout. One of them jabs at Ballista with his rifle, knocking her to her knees. Dang, guns hurt. Dimitri's face goes white as he grabs the rifle barrel, and the man turns it to him. And fires. Oh my God! They actually killed Dmitri. The train lurches into motion as Dmitri stumbles back. "Oh, Father!" Andre cries out. "Look away, boy." But Andre cannot look away. He sees Vasilisa flailing at the soldiers, weeping, and 2 more guns fire. She spins and goes down in a heap atop Dmitri. The 2 of them lie there, dying together on the platform as the steam from the train cloaks them, and the past cloaks them too. The train, like time, moving away. Andrew Ryan shook his head. Workers' militia, he muttered bitterly now. A revelation for the poor. To save us all, for a cold death on a train platform. And that had been just from the beginning. He'd seen far worse things traveling with his father. Ryan shook his head and looked at the pictures of Hiroshima. Madness, but no worse than the devastation of socialism. His dream had always been to build something that would survive anything the little madman could throw at him. If only Father could be there to see it rise from the shadows, magnificent, unafraid, a fortress dedicated to freedom. Rapture. And that's the prologue. Next is part 1, the first stage of rapture. I'm not sure if I'll read that for you guys tonight. I might not.